Story 1.
When I was 14 years old, I had this strange habit of sleeping with my window slightly open. Just a small crack, enough to let the night air drift in. I liked the sound of crickets, the way the breeze felt. It made the silence feel less suffocating. I would lie there, headphones in, scrolling on my phone until I passed out. But that summer, something began watching me. It started one night around 1:30 in the morning. I paused my music because something felt off. The air in my room had changed. It was heavy. Still. I sat up slowly. Then I heard it. A soft crunch, like a footstep on the gravel path outside my window. At first, I told myself it was the neighbor's cat. But then I saw it, just barely, through the crack in my curtain. A shadow, tall. Completely still. I did not move. My heart was pounding, thudding against my chest. The shape was too rigid to be a tree, and too human to be a shadow. It was there. Just standing. Watching. My breath caught. For a second, I could not even think. Then I screamed out, "Dad! Dad, someone is outside my window." I heard quick footsteps in the hallway, and a few seconds later, my bedroom door creaked open. My dad stepped in, eyes squinting, clearly just woken up. "What is going on?" he asked. I pointed at the window. There was someone standing right there. I saw him. He walked over and looked out the window. He stood there for a while, scanning the yard. "I do not see anyone," he said. "It is probably just your imagination. You were half asleep." I wanted to argue, but the words stuck in my throat. My mom came to the doorway, rubbing her eyes, and looked at me. "You should stop watching those horror videos before bed," she said gently. "They mess with your mind." They both left, and that was the end of that conversation. But I did not sleep. I stared at that window until the sky began to lighten. The next night, it returned. Same time. Same place. Just standing beneath the window. Watching. It kept happening. Every night at the same time. I stopped sleeping. I started keeping a kitchen knife under my bed, not because I thought I could fight this person, but because I needed to feel like I had something. I stopped telling my parents. They did not believe me the first time, and I could tell they thought I was just being dramatic. Then came the weekend when Cody stayed over. Cody is my cousin. He is about a year younger than me, and he was staying at our place while his parents were out of town. We used to hang out in my room until late, talking, playing games, and eventually passing out. But that night was different. We had just gone quiet. The room was dark. I was drifting off when Cody suddenly sat straight up. "Hey," he whispered. "There is someone outside." I blinked myself awake. "What do you mean?" "There is a man. He is staring through the window." I turned my head and, yes, he was there, closer than ever before, standing just inches from the glass. His face was mostly hidden by the shadows, but the way he stood, the posture, the angle of his head, it was like he was trying to memorize us. Then Cody screamed. A full, gut-wrenching scream of pure panic. The kind that is not controlled, not performative, just real fear, ripping out of your throat. Seconds later, we heard loud footsteps in the hallway. The door flew open. Uncle Ray burst in holding a baseball bat, eyes wide and wild. Uncle Ray lives in a city quite far from our house, but he works in a factory close to our place, so he visits us from time to time. Sometimes he even stays with us for some days. "What is going on?" he asked. Cody was pointing at the window. He was right there. There was a man at the window. Uncle Ray charged to the window, pulled it open, and stuck his head out. The yard was empty. The man was gone. We searched the entire property. Nothing. No footprints. No sign of a break-in. Just the same silence that had followed me for weeks. But Uncle Ray believed us. He stayed awake that entire night, sitting in a chair outside the room, bat in hand, watching. Waiting. The man did not return that night. But he was not finished. A few nights later, I was alone again. I decided I had to catch him. I placed my phone in the window, screen dimmed, camera recording, pointed at the path. Then I crawled into bed and pretended to sleep. 1:25 a.m. Nothing. 1:30, still nothing. 1:34. Movement. He stepped into view. Tall. Thin. Dressed in dark clothes. Face obscured by the shadows. But the way he moved, controlled, confident, this was not some random prowler. He had done this before. Then he reached into his coat pocket and pulled something out. A Polaroid camera. He lifted it. Aimed it through the window. I ducked instantly. My heart was beating so hard I could feel it in my ears. A few seconds later, I heard him running, gravel crunching under his shoes, fading into the night. At dawn, I checked the footage. He was there. Clear. Real. Recorded on video. I showed my parents. They did not say a word. My father called the police. Officers came, took the footage, asked questions. They said they would increase patrols, but unless someone could identify him, there was not much they could do. So we installed motion lights. We locked every window and trimmed back the trees and bushes, and I stopped sleeping with my window open. But then something else happened. 2 days later, while I was sorting through the mail at the kitchen table, my mom handed me a plain white envelope. No stamp. No return address. Just my name, handwritten in thick, shaky ink. Inside was a Polaroid photo of me, lying in bed, asleep. Taken from outside the window.
Story 2.
My name is Daniel. I am 17 now, but what I am about to share happened when I was 15. Back then, my family rented a small single-story house on the edge of town. The backyard opened into a wide empty field that stretched to a dense line of trees in the distance. No fences. No neighbors behind us. Just wind, dirt, and silence. It was the kind of place where you could hear your own heartbeat at night. At first, I hated it. There was no one my age nearby, and I spent most of my time alone, either reading or wandering along the edge of the field. That changed about 3 weeks after we moved in. I was sitting on the porch one evening, just after sunset, when I saw him. A boy, maybe around same age I was, standing deep in the field. He was facing the house. Still. Watching. I thought it was strange, but not necessarily scary. I assumed he lived nearby. The next night, he was there again, closer. And the next night, even closer. Eventually, I called out to him. Hey. He stepped forward. Hi, he said quietly. His voice was soft and cautious. He wore faded jeans and a dark oversized hoodie. His hair was unkempt, and he looked like he had not bathed in days. But his eyes were bright, curious, and intense. Do you live around here? I asked. He hesitated. Sort of, he said. I move around. We talked for a few minutes, and then he asked if we could hang out. From then on, every night after sundown, he would return. We would sneak into the field and play tag or lie in the grass and talk. He never wanted to go near the house. Never wanted me to take pictures. Never said much about his past. I asked his name once. He told me it was Aaron. When I asked who he lived with, he shrugged and changed the subject. Something about him felt hollow. Not fake, just empty, like no one had ever really looked after him. A few weeks in, I started to feel unsettled. Aaron never came during the day. I never saw him in school, at the grocery store, or anywhere else. When I asked my parents or neighbors if they knew a boy named Aaron, the answer was always no. Not one neighbor recognized the name. A couple even looked concerned and said, "We do not really see many kids around here." One woman told me she had not seen a teenager anywhere near the field in years. My mom said, "Daniel, maybe it is just your imagination. Or a dream." But I knew he was real. He left footprints. He knew things about the field, things I could not explain. One night he warned me not to walk through a section of ground because it was soft. The next morning, I checked. That spot had sunk in overnight, like something had collapsed beneath it. Another time, he pointed out a half-buried deer skull that I had never noticed before, just lying there beneath a tangle of roots. One night, not long after we began hanging out, I was lying in bed around midnight. The curtains were open. My window looked out over the backyard and into the field. I saw movement. I sat up, expecting to see Aaron waiting near the tree line like usual. But instead, I saw him standing only a few feet from the window, closer than ever before. His face was pale in the moonlight, but it was not just him. Behind him, farther out in the field, were other figures. 3, maybe 4. All standing still. Shadowed. Silent. I could not make out their faces. I opened the window slightly and whispered Aaron's name. He turned his head slowly toward the figures. Then back at me. "Go back to sleep," he said. "Do not look at them." I was frozen. "Who are they?" I asked. He did not answer. "Are they your friends?" I asked again. "Do they live with you?" Still no response. "Do they come here every night?" My voice was shaking now. "Why do they just stand there?" He just looked at me. "Are they from the tunnels too?" I asked. "Aaron, are they dangerous?" He took a step back into the dark. One of the other figures moved, just a twitch, and then all of them melted into the field like smoke. I did not sleep that night. The next day, I checked for footprints in the dirt outside the window. There were only his. One pair barefoot. I never asked him about it again. One night, deep in the field, I asked again where he lived. He looked down and said, "Somewhere no one looks. Somewhere people forget." I felt a chill run through my chest. Later that week, he brought me to a part of the field I had never seen. Hidden beneath a section of dense brush was a large metal grate, rusted and half buried in the ground. It looked like it had not been opened in years. "What is this?" I asked. "An old storm drain," he said. "Leads to the tunnels. You would be surprised how many people live down there." I stared at him, stunned. "You live in the tunnels?" He nodded. That night, I told my parents everything. At first, they did not believe me, until I led them to the grate. My dad cleared the brush and opened it with a crowbar. A rusted ladder led down into pitch-black darkness. My mom called the police. What they found underneath changed everything. There were mattresses, broken furniture, empty food cans, graffiti, and a boy's backpack with a faded name stitched into it, Aaron M. Fletcher. Detectives launched a full investigation. It took 2 days before they found him. He had been living in a drainage system beneath the town for nearly 2 years. He was not a ghost. He was a missing person, reported by his aunt in another state. He had run away after being passed between foster homes, surviving off stolen food, generosity from the rare stranger, and sheer instinct. When the police brought him out, he did not look at anyone but me. He smiled. Not wide or creepy, just grateful. "You remembered me," he said quietly. That moment. It stays with me. Aaron was placed into a care program. I heard he eventually moved in with a family across the state who specialized in helping kids from severe trauma. I never saw him again. But I did receive one letter a year later. No return address. Just a few words, written in messy handwriting. But the thing that still borders me is the people I saw him with on the field. I thought maybe they lived in the tunnels too. But I never saw anyone like that after that day. Even after Aaron left the tunnels, but I guess it is a mystery only Aaron can explain.
Story 3.
It started on a night that was not supposed to be memorable. Our parents had gone out of town for the weekend, some work-sponsored couple's getaway about 4 hours upstate. They trusted us. I was 17 years old. Ryan was 15. We had a fully stocked refrigerator, emergency contact numbers taped to the front, and a quiet neighborhood. Nothing out of the ordinary. That Saturday, we spent most of the day being lazy, watching movies, playing video games, eating snacks. Around 8 o'clock in the evening, my friend Mason sent me a text message. He was having a chill hangout, projector screen, fire pit with just a few friends. His house was across the ridge, maybe 2 miles away. We planned to take the car, but the battery was dead. We had left a light on 2 nights ago and never jumped it. We talked about ordering a ride, but Ryan rolled his eyes. 2 miles. Come on, he said. It is a straight walk. We left around 10:30 that night. The air was quiet and dry, a little colder than we expected. The main roads were fine, but we knew a shortcut, an old gravel path that cut between the fields and backed up to the woods behind a closed-down plant nursery. We had walked it before during the day. At night, it felt different. Still, we kept talking and laughing, pretending the darkness did not mess with us. We stayed at Mason's longer than we planned, watched 2 full movies, messed around by the fire. By the time we left, it was nearly 1 o'clock in the morning. That is when it happened. We were halfway down the trail when I noticed something up ahead, just outside the reach of a dim flickering streetlight. A figure. Sitting. As we got closer, we saw it was a man in a wheelchair. His head was up, not asleep. Watching. He waved. "Good evening," he said. Ryan slowed down and nudged me. "You see this, right?" The man's voice was hoarse, like he had been talking for hours. "You boys mind giving me a push? My chair is stuck. One of the wheels is locked up. I have been out here a while." We stopped a few feet away. He looked normal. Older, mid-40s maybe. Thin. His clothes were clean, but outdated. His hands were shaking slightly, and his wheelchair was tilted like it really might be jammed. "You live nearby?" I asked. He nodded. "Just down that trail there," he said, pointing to a narrow path leading deeper into the trees. "My porch light is still on." I squinted. Way down the trail, there was a faint yellow glow. Ryan leaned closer to me. "Why would his porch light be on at 1 in the morning if he cannot even get home?" But the man looked so desperate. His breathing was shallow. His knees jittered, and he winced like he was cold. I stepped forward. "Okay. We will help." We got behind the chair and started pushing. It rolled easily at first. Then the ground changed, no longer gravel, just soft dirt and weeds. The trees thickened around us. The trail narrowed. The porch light ahead was not getting any closer. And then, I felt it. The wheelchair was not rolling anymore. I was pushing, but the wheels were not spinning. The man was holding the brakes. He turned his head slowly and looked back at us, eyes clearer than before. Too clear. "You boys from around here?" he asked. His voice had changed. Calmer. Lower. Ryan grabbed my arm. "Let us go. Now." The man's eyes twitched. "Why leave?" he said. "We are just getting started." Then he stood up. No groaning. No wobble. Just straight to his feet like the chair had been for show. He was not shaking anymore. He looked stronger. Taller than I had realized. And he started walking fast. We ran hard. The trail behind us exploded with snapping branches. Heavy footsteps pounded the dirt. He was not yelling. He was not gasping. He was quiet. Determined. We did not look back. We did not stop. We broke through the trees and landed hard on someone's lawn, gasping for breath. Their porch light flicked on, and a man opened the door, startled. He called the police. When they arrived, they searched the woods. No man. No wheelchair. No tracks. But here is the part that still gets me. One officer asked us to show him exactly where the trail began. We walked them to the edge of it, right by that flickering streetlight. There was no trail. Just trees. Thick, old trees that looked like they had not been cleared in decades. The next morning, there were 2 long, straight indentations in the gravel near our driveway. Like something had been dragged there. Like wheels. Our parents eventually came home. But we promised ourselves not to mention a word about what happened that day.